Welcome back, and we hope you had a good weekend. Hello and welcome to DXB Today. We've got lots coming up on the show, all about the power of the brain. But what specifically do we have coming up?
Faris, a little birdie told me that you went down to the Qouz Arts Fest that took place over the weekend to explore the activities on offer and, of course, try out all the food.
Plus, we have a special performance by the charming duo Coalescence from our exclusive musical venue at Al Circle Avenue. Guys, I mean, just off air, we were talking about therapy, and if we all go to therapists, I think we have the same therapist. We all should, because it's such a, I mean, it's needed, it's required. We're going to be sitting down with experts who know how the brain works and ticks. Ash, what is it most you're looking forward to finding out today? You know,
just bouncing back on therapy, the whole idea behind therapy. I used to go to therapy quite a bit. I haven't been recently, and I would definitely want to go back. And can I just tell you something? I don't know if you guys experience this. It is so hard to get an appointment with a therapist. They are the busiest people in Dubai. So if you would like to consider a new job offer, then you should be a therapist, because there aren't enough of them, and it seems to be a booming industry. What about you, Faris?
Well, I mean, something that a lot of people do when it does come to psychotherapy, when it comes to counseling as well, is they will get someone in another country and they'll do it over Zoom, which maybe doesn't have the same effect, but it is definitely something that is available because, as you say, it is very hard to get those appointments. It was a good weekend, though. I mean, I was at Real Palestine over the weekend.
Switching gear?
Oh my gosh. I mean, just in lighter news, I was at Real Palestine, and we absolutely love it over at Cinema Aqil. Like, they have the stalls, the markets, and of course, the movies were amazing. And the fact that it's happening at the same time as Qouz Arts Festival, I mean, what a weekend.
Did you meet any cool, interesting people there?
I met one of my favorite Palestinian singers, Maysa Dow. And I know that Tamer Nafar, a very cool Palestinian rapper, was around. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I watched his film, his documentary, and it's excellent stuff.
I didn't know Faris was such a socialite.
Neither did I.
Idea,
and such a real interest for cinema, theatre and art. Like,
well, what can I say? I'm a
you?
multifaceted fellow, but for right now...
Very cultured.
Let's add to this party and meet our guest co-host. Who's it going to be today?
Hi, this is Dr. Shweta Arathya. I'm a specialist neurologist, and I'm so excited to be here at the DXB today. We are going to talk about the brains, the power of the wonderful brains that we have.
Dr. Shweta will join us right here in just a bit, but first, as the 11th edition of the region's most loved festival, Qouz Arts Fest, wrapped up this weekend, we sent our very own Faris down to take a look at the adventures that took place this year. Check it out.
I am very excited today because I'm here at Qouz Arts Fest, and it's happening at the same time as Real Palestine. It's going to be an amazing event, and I can't wait to check it out. And here we are with Gilda Gilantash, Events Director with Al Circle Avenue, the person we have to thank for putting on this amazing event. Thank you so much for being on with us.
Thanks for coming.
Now, this is the 11th edition of Qouz Arts Fest. It's been going over a decade. How has this year been different?
It's always different. We have a lot of people who come every single year and are very kind of loyal to the festival, and each time they come, there's something different happening. Obviously, we're standing in Real Palestine Market right now, but if you walk around the avenue, there are lots of different performances happening throughout the day, lots of different musical, theatrical, dance, choirs, a lot going on. And there's a lot for kids as well. We've got a whole lane for children, workshops and activities.
We're here with the Synaptic. Thank you so much for being on DXB today.
Habibi, thanks for having me.
Of course. I know you've been all over Amman, you've been all over much of the Arab world and the world. How is it different performing here in Dubai?
For people that I would not be able to perform in front of sometimes or meet, and I get to see them here.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Amazing.
When you're here, do you feel like you're making new fans from like all over the world? Or is it usually people that know you?
I feel I'm making more new fans every time I perform, definitely. But I also have my fans everywhere. They always show up and they show support and show love.
Now, tell us a little bit about Qouz Arts Fest, what's been going on performance-wise, because I know you've been emceeing, you've been bringing in some of the acts. Tell us how it's been.
It's maybe the only fest in the UAE that has a lot of, contemporary dance, live music, art, food. What I personally love about it, though, is the amount of kids that come in and get acquainted with the culture.
I know you've been in the industry for a long time. You've actually helped a lot of artists reach where they are. How have you seen the Qouz Arts Fest develop and like Real Palestine develop over the past decade?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the evolution of it is beautiful, but it goes back to the cause of it, and how do we empower these beautiful causes, and how do we empower each other. And Qouz Arts Fest was able to establish that from early on, and that's the most beautiful thing. So now when you say Qouz Arts Fest, people know what to expect, people know who's here, and I think they set the bar to what culture really stands for. And of course, shout out to the Real Philistine and what they're trying to do as well.
Very wise. Thank you so much, Big Hass, for being on DXB today.
Man, I'm a big fan of you, and of course you guys. Shout out to you guys. Peace and love as always, and big love to Sirkal Avenue. Thank you so much for having me. It's a blessing. Salam.
Anytime. Well, it's been an amazing day. So much to do, so much to see, so much to eat and drink right here at Qouz Arts Fest. And of course, in collaboration with Real Palestine happening at the same time. I've had an amazing day. I'm going to keep having fun. And DXB today is so glad and privileged to be here. Thanks for that, Faris. What a handsome guy. Now, our guest co-host for today is a specialist neurologist from Gargash Hospital who is unlocking the power of the mind with the Limitless Lab. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Shweta Adatia. Thank you for being on DXB today.
Thank you, thank you.
So, what is a specialist neurologist exactly?
Right, so we fix the broken brains, brain plumbers. We essentially are taking care of the brain when it's not functioning. That's what our job is. So people who suffer from tremors, who have Parkinson's, who have problems in the vision, problems in walking, strokes, paralysis, that's what we treat.
So it's actually like brain defects?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so what is a limitless brain then?
Right, so thank you for asking that, because it's like a phone analogy, right? We have so many phones. The phone is supposed to be doing the talking, right? But why do we want to have the iPhone? That's exactly the same, that I want to have the best of the version of the brain that I have. So being limitless is nothing but, harnessing the entire power of whatever is lying within. We are all essentially born with about 100 billion neurons, and then the size sort of goes increasing as we grow old. But it's on us, how are we crafting those circuits and making the optimal use of it so that we can do excellent in life, success, relationships, health, and also prosperity and abundance.
Now, Dr. Shweta, this is from Dr. Google, so please excuse me. I read that there are 16 different brain types, and on and off you see these online quiz that tell you like what sort of personality you have based on a questionnaire that you fill out, and ultimately, okay, fine, I found out I'm an introvert, now what? Right. A lot of them don't really come with any real strategies to improve or I guess combat some of the issues you're going through, but at the same time sometimes they can be freakishly accurate as well. So.
Well, thank you for saying that. They can be freakishly accurate. So these are called psychometric tools. Essentially what happens is we have a behavior and a personality. The best way to bring out that behavior and personality is the way we are talking, the way we are thinking. So these are essentially, some of them bring out the thinking patterns, and one of my research areas and interest was that. So the common ones, the different types of the brains that you talked about was from Myers-Briggs, etc. and all. So technically, my own entire story also started like that. So there are two kinds of marriages in India, love marriage and arranged marriage, right? So I would say that there are two kinds of careers, love career and arranged career. And my both parents were doctors, and then, hey, I became arranged, I became a doctor. So, but then 5 years of MBBS, 1 year of internship, 1 year of pre-medicine, 3 years of medicine, 1 year of pre-neurology, 3 years of neurology, and 2 years in stroke. 15 years, you ought to start loving it, right? So it became arranged come love. But when I finished that, I realized that, hey, I need to really understand my thinking pattern to what best I can offer to the world. And that's when I started to do that research, and all that you're talking about, I had literally blown off thousands of dollars and having 75 psychometric such tests, some of them freakingly accurate. And I could actually get into the science behind it, and that's what we did over the last 7-8 years. I just got a book published on the same. It's called Future Ready Now. So essentially the idea is, let's not go hanky-panky, let's just understand the thinking pattern of the brain and start designing the career. When I learned about my own career, I had a little bit of a shift, I would say. So I also did my MBA in finance. I would have never done that if I would not have known what is my thinking pattern and circuit like. So it's very interesting.
Well, that's the thing. We are talking about the brain types and understanding that and taking strategies towards that can help us succeed.
Precisely.
Do some people actually, are they being damaged by not knowing what their brain type is? Is it affecting us negatively maybe?
Surely, I mean, if you just go and buy the most sophisticated, let's me just put it, since we're talking about phone, you get the best of your iPod. Would you want to just use it, or you want to just understand a little bit about as a manual, you know? You would like to study it a little bit, you know, you don't want to blow it off. Exactly the same. We all come with this wonderful brain, the amazing operational capacities, the things that we can do. But what happens is, if we don't understand how is it wired, that's when the problems can come in. So it's not just about optimizing the performance and being successful, but also understanding how am I thinking, you know, simply as that. So Limitless Brain Lab has been doing these kind of experiments, and particularly I'm very, very interested in understanding the brains of high achievers, high performers, and at the same time, not performing.
Well, if you've got any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
Sure, yeah. We put you on the lab, and then, you know, we hook you up with all the gadgets.
You know who not to go to, and that is Faris. I just want to ask you, because you touched on behaviour and personality of the brain.
Sure.
So just to be clear, you can absolutely train your brain to act with different behaviours and create a completely different personality.
Absolutely, that's neuroplasticity, right? We thought that brains were plastic and they won't move, and that's why it's very interesting. Why do they call it neuroplasticity, right? I mean, it is moldable. You can actually change your circuits. You can actually evolve. So see, we all are born as human beings, but where did we evolve from? The creepy, crawly creatures, which are like lizards and stuff, and then we move on to have the mammalian brains, and then we move on to have our little grandfathers and grandmothers, right, the apes, and then we have the human beings, right? When we evolve, there is one part of the brain which I'm super, you know, I would call it as the seat of your best performance, seat of consciousness, and that's your frontal lobe, which is right here. If you are not able to understand the powers of it, exactly to what your point is, executive function, how can you change the behavior, how can you optimize it, then I don't think so. It's a good use of such an amazing stuff that we all have.
Yeah.
Dr. Shweta, we just have about 30 seconds to go. So I just want to quickly ask you, I suffer from ADD a lot. It is very hard for me to concentrate in something, especially if I'm not 1000% interested in it. It is really hard for me. Do you have any program that might help combat that?
Precisely, and ADD is such a common thing right now. We always believe that it's just with the children, which is just a myth, you know. Adults can suffer from attention deficit, and we were just talking backstage that it's not good to have ADHD, you know. It's not a disease. We all can have attention deficits and all, but yes, we do run a lot of programs, and those circuits can be fixed. Your attention can be optimized, your short-term memory, your working memory, everything can be fixed.
Gosh, sign me
It's
up.
possible. It's possible.
I cannot sign up fast enough because it is a real struggle. People who have it will know exactly what I'm talking about. Dr. Shweta, please stick with us because for now, let's get to know the artist who performs on tonight's show. Let's have a look.
Hi, we're Coalescence Duo.
And we're going to be performing a mashup of 2 songs for you today, No One and Price Tag.
Stay tuned for our performance at the end of the show.
Very much looking forward to see their performance later on. But coming up next, we found out more about a workplace burnout with a leading clinical psychologist. So don't go anywhere.